Mahela, the team came with high hopes of winning their first test match in Australia. What actually went wrong with it?
I think this would have been a perfect script. Bowling on the fourth day in Sydney. Probably the way we batted in the first innings, it was important for us to make sure that when we had a good start, that try and capitalize, put some good runs on the board. And we did create some pressure in their first innings as well. We got the wickets. If we had kept them for somewhere close to what our first inning score was, things would have been different. We let Wade get away in that morning as well, dropped a few catches. And even second innings we batted well, but we're not consistently putting pressure on the Australians. Maybe another 60, 75 runs, things could have been different, but we're not good enough to do that. So that's something that we need to sit down and discuss and see how we can move forward.
So I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm just talking about the Sydney Test, but looking at the series overall, what actually went wrong with the team?
I think, the Hobart was a good fight, tough conditions. I thought, we hung in there pretty well, had a pretty decent test match. Melbourne, like I said, we had to take responsibility. We never showed any fight in that test match, so that was very disappointing. To come back to this, I thought, we stood up pretty well, fought really well, but wasn't good enough. I mean, Australians did play some really good cricket throughout the summer. They did give us few opportunities here and there, but we were not good enough to capitalize and take control and push forward. So when you're competing at this level, I think we need to be much better prepared and show much more character in winning a test match in these conditions.
Mahela, how big a factor do you think was the performance of your tail compared to Australia's tail? Like certainly the way they batted as well.
It's different. I think given the conditions, obviously, which was Asian conditions, things would have been different. So that's how it is. But they backed themselves playing that fifth extra bowler with that long tail, knowing that few of their guys can bat. That was an opportunity that we could have exploited, but we were not good enough. I think if we had put a bit more pressure in the first innings and had more runs in the second innings, things maybe probably would have been different. But that was an opportunity that we missed in this test match.
Mahela, you were 4 of your regular players out for this test match. Given the way some of your young batsmen played in this test match, you would say that the future argues well in the next few years?
Well, I think the opportunity that came to Thierry, I thought he grabbed pretty well. Dimuth, like I said, I felt he was a very talented batsman. He showed what he can do. And Chandimal has been performing every time that he gets an opportunity in Test cricket. So that's something that we need to work on. Obviously, I'm not going to be the captain for the next series, so that's something for the selectors and the next captain to think about and see where we need to go, which direction, and how we need to proceed in that direction.
Mahela, players fail and succeed. We have seen great players like Michael Hussey retire today. We've seen Sri Lanka's young players, Chandimal, Thirimana, Nuwan Pradeep, show their colours in this one-off test match. As far as they are concerned, you as outgoing captain, can you justify the continued presence of players like Samaraveera?
I think I'm not going to talk about individual players after we lose a series like this. I don't think that's fair. I know there'll be a disappointment because some of the players did not perform to their potential. But if you had asked me that question 6 months ago, Thilan probably was our best batsman in South Africa, scored a couple of hundreds in tough conditions. So you back your experienced players in these kind of conditions to come and perform. So unfortunately, he did have a bad series, but that's something that can happen to any player. I know Huss went through that about a year back, and he was in verge of being dropped, and he made a comeback. So it's tough to speak about individual players after a series like this, but we just need to sit down as a team and see where we need to push forward and as selectors and as the team management will make those calls in due course. But it's unfair to pick few players who did not perform in this series and say, it was their fault. So I think as a unit, I don't think we played good enough cricket here. We didn't play to our potential. We never pushed ourselves. So that, as a team, we need to take responsibility.
Mahela, just on, you gave Mike Hussey the guard of honour in the first innings. There wasn't a second one. But respect for him, obviously, that showed a great deal of respect you obviously have for Hussey as a person and as a cricketer.
Definitely. I think, I've been fortunate enough to play quite a few test matches against him, and he's been an nemesis for us throughout the last, 6 years. If you see his numbers, what he has put up in the last, he made his debut in 2003 or 4, I think, and for the last 7, 8 years, what he has put, if he had had a longer career, he probably would have been one of those, greats who finished the game. So, as a fellow competitor, I felt that, he deserves what he has put into the game. I think he's a fantastic professional, a great guy, and that's why we felt that, sad to see somebody leave the game, but, that happens and everyone moves on. But, we do have a lot of respect for Huss, the way he has went about playing cricket.
Mahela, Australia's got a couple of tough series coming up, India and back-to-back Ashes, without Ponting and Hussey. Do you see enough in the young players here that they'll sort of be able to make up that gap, or will it take a bit longer?
I'm not going to predict anything. I think India is always going to be a tough place for anyone to go and play cricket, and you don't have the experience. It's always going to be tough. But they're a very talented group of players, and as long as they're willing to work hard, I think that's an investment that everyone can look forward to. Ashes is always going to be tough, whether it's be away, home or away. It'll be a good test for the entire group, I think.
Mahela, you've been around for a while and have seen a lot of players come through the ranks. Now you've got 4 young batsmen, including Angelo. What do you see, where do they need to improve and grow in their game so that they can, start making those big scores?
Well, I think the more opportunities that they get to play in these kind of conditions, their overall game will improve. But I think, the talent alone will not carry them forward. It's a much tougher thinking processes. You need to identify your weaknesses. You need to know your game better, and go out and see what the opposition is doing, and build innings and bat for longer. So guys like Thierry, Dimuth and Angelo, Chandi all have talent, and they've shown that, and that's why they're here. So as long as they're willing to learn and work hard, I think they will make those big scores, and they'll be the future of Sri Lankan cricket, definitely. But like you said, they need to work hard. They need to identify how they can become a complete player in their own way. It's tough to say this is what you need to do, but they themselves have to realize what they need to do and where they need to toughen up. And it's not just technical, it's mental as well.
What did you think was a decent target here? And what was your reaction when Thilan got out third ball?
When we started the game yesterday, we were trying and restrict them to less than 100 runs of lead, and then if we can push ourselves to get 275, 300, that would have given us 200 runs. I thought if we get few early wickets with our spinners, Rangan especially, we can probably create opportunities. Thilan got out. I thought the shot was on. They had the field up. You need to take control when you come in, and against off spinner, it's something that we grew up always playing spin, and we do attack spin, and the shot was on, probably the execution. So that happens, and we move on.
Last question.
We saw in the run chase today Australia lose 5 wickets. Did you feel as if throughout the series you had Australia's batsmen under pressure enough?
We had some game plans, but I think where we let ourselves down, I thought we did pick up wickets throughout the series. That was pleasing, but we did leak a lot of runs while doing that. I think that's where we could not put them under pressure. I think 2 test matches, they had some quick starts. Davey got away from us in both those test matches, and had great starts, so we had to pull the game back. And even here in the first innings as well, we gave away probably 60 runs in the first 7 or 8 overs, so that's always going to be tough for us to pull a game back after that. So while we were taking wickets, while we were creating opportunities, we just could not keep that pressure building, because we did leak a lot of runs. So that's probably why we couldn't put enough pressure on the Australian lineup.